The rope snapped. The burial cloth fell. There was no body inside, only writhing black soil. And then it screamed. Midnight struck once. The bell from the old village church echoed across the teak forest of central Java. Not a peaceful sound, a warning. The forest did not answer. No wind, no insects. No night birds, only waiting. A drone could have captured it, the clearing carved out of darkness, where crooked headstones leaned like broken teeth. The villagers called it Makam Hitam, the Black Tomb. The soil there was wrong, not brown, not black, bruised. Inside the SUV were three outsiders. Bram, urban developer, calculating, amused by superstition. Danny, photographer, addicted to danger. City local guide, quiet enough to hear what others ignored. They were scouting land for a luxury Easter retreat.
I can't believe you said that.
Right? It was so funny.
You should have seen your face.
Classic.
Resurrection Hills, Bram had joked earlier. Rebirth cells. The engine didn't stall when they reached the cemetery. It died. Instantly. As if something had unplugged it, they stepped out. The air was cold. Too cold for April. Graves marked with wooden stakes wrapped in faded white cloth lined the clearing. Many had sunk inward, as though something beneath had shifted position. Danny kept taking photos. One grave stood apart. No name. No dates. Just a crude wooden cross in soil darker than ink. Bram knelt and pressed his palm into it. The earth trembled. Not from wind. From beneath.
Rich soil. Perfect foundation.
Siddi's voice was barely audible.
That land was Wakaf, promised to the restless.
Bram ignored her for a split second as he sealed the bag. A whisper brushed his ear.
Belum selesai.
He turned. Nothing. Behind him, a wooden cross slowly tilted.
Everyone in? Let's go.
They rented a colonial villa at the edge of the forest. A crucifix hung above the doorway. The caretaker had warned them.
Tonight is the vigil. The dead are between prayers.
Inside, Danny reviewed his photos. In one image, the grave Bram touched appeared deeper. In another, a tall white figure stood behind Bram, wrapped tightly in burial cloth. Danny zoomed in. The face wasn't blurred. It was missing. On the dining table, the sample bag began to warp. Condensation formed inside. Then black liquid seeped out, spreading across the wood. It smelled like rotting jasmine soaked in grave water. The lights flickered. Outside, thud. Silence. Thud. Closer, not footsteps, hopping. They approached the window. Under the porch light stood a figure bound head to toe in a burial shroud. The cloth was yellowed damp, tied tightly at the crown with frayed hemp rope. No arms free, no legs visible. It hopped forward violently. The wood of the porch cracked. The crucifix above the door tilted sideways.
Ochong.
Siddi whispered one word. The figure tilted its head. There was no visible mouth. But it spoke.
You removed what was sealed.
The voice sounded layered, like dirt sliding across a coffin lid. Bram flung the door open. The yard was empty. Only deep oval indentations in the soil, and one indentation at the threshold. The temperature inside the villa dropped. Their breath fogged the air. The spilled soil on the table began spreading across the floor in thin veins. Like roots searching. Donnie stepped back. The floor beneath him was damp. Black residue clung to his bare skin. It pulsed. Upstairs, a door slammed. The villa had no second tenant. Something dragged across the ceiling. Then, thud. Inside, City clutched a rosary, whispering prayers she barely remembered. The lights went out. Total darkness. Only the red glow of Danny's camera remained. He lifted it. Through the viewfinder. The Pokung stood in the corner, facing the wall, motionless. The rope at its head tightened slowly by itself, creaking. Danny lowered the camera. Nothing there. He raised it again. Closer. The soil on the floor began climbing up the walls. The smell intensified. Wet burial cloth, rotting flowers. Bram grabbed a kitchen knife. The hopping started again. Behind them, they turned. The Pokung stood in the hallway. Closer. Each hop left a smear of black residue. The crucifix flipped upside down. The rope tightened again. A wet tearing sound came from inside the shroud, as if something within was rearranging itself. The soil surged. It swallowed Danny's feet. He screamed as it crawled upward, not burning, but freezing. Yeah! It tried to enter his mouth. City dragged him away. Bram lunged forward and slashed the rope. The knot snapped. The burial cloth loosened. Fell. There was no body. Only hollow fabric filled with writhing black soil. It burst outward. The soil engulfed Bram. It poured into his mouth, nose, eyes. He tried to scream. No sound escaped. White cloth manifested around him, wrapping tighter, layer by layer, binding his arms to his sides, stitching his lips shut with hemp fibers. The original Pokung collapsed into dust. Silence. Thud. Thud. Bram stood upright, wrapped, rigid, his eyes visible behind thin cloth. Alive. Trapped. He hopped once, toward City, not attacking, showing. The cloth around his face tightened, and through the thin fabric, his eyes began leaking black soil. Outside, the church bell began ringing repeatedly. Easter Sunday. Resurrection. Morning light crept into the villa. City woke on the floor. Danny was gone. No broken furniture, no soil, no damage. Only the sample bag, refilled, heavy, black, wet, on the table. A knock at the door. The caretaker stood outside. He looked past her into the house. He sighed.
It always chooses one.
Why?
City whispered.
Because someone must guard what cannot be forgiven.
Behind him, in the tree line, a white figure hopped slowly between the trunks, watching. City looked down at her hands. Black soil packed beneath her fingernails. It pulsed, very faintly. In the distance, a final whisper drifted through the trees.
The stone was rolled away, but some graves are never meant to open.